Welcome to the real Monster D. That would be me. Yes. In today's episode, I have something very special for you for today. I have brought along talent, more than twice the talent, for I've brought two talented ladies in particular. They make up the dynamic daughter and mother duo who created Vampetz, both the children's book as well as the plush toy sensation. They are Addie Anderson, musician, composer, gamer, and writer, as well as Dina Colongelo, soft goods design engineer, as well as illustrator. And they're here with you now to talk about their delightful, wonderful Vampetz. So Addie and Dina, welcome and thank you for coming.
Hi, thanks for having us.
So the first thing I have to ask is, what is it like being a mother-daughter creative team? I have to wonder, how often does mom sort of pull mom rank within the company?
I don't think I do. This has been her baby. I kind of let her lead.
This actually started back in, 2010?
Yep.
When we started making the toys. And it was like during the Twilight Edward Cullen kind of phase. The vampires were like in trend. And I decided I wanted to make some toys for friends for birthday parties. And I came up with the design, and my mom is the sewer, and with the real talent that she was able to kind of bring them to life. And we just kind of bounce back and forth. It's honestly just a lot of fun and a lot of laughter for the most part. Like, she'll be sewing something and then flip it around and suddenly it'll look like this, and we'll just like break out laughing.
Nice.
Right. I think we each know what the other one's strength is. And I'm kind of more behind the scenes.
I can already tell how thankful she is to have you, because that behind the scenes personnel to an artist is a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, I know that the toys came well before the children's book, but at the time when you were creating them, was there, prior to you creating them, along with the obvious vampire influence, were there seeds of a storyline or a concept for what the Vampetz might have done even that far back?
Yeah, the story kind of, every time we would do a show together, where we would sell the Vampetz, anytime there was downtime, I would just start coming up with like, oh, well, this is how the ninjas fit into the Vampetz lore. And eventually it was just kind of like the story just built itself. And there was one day that my mom was just like, all right, this show is very, very slow. Paper, tell me your story. And I just kind of said out loud what had been in my head this entire time when I'd been building all those years, and suddenly we had a full-fledged story.
In the 10 years that we've been doing this, we have had one show that we haven't made a profit off of, and it was that show. And there was a reason it happened, because I pulled out paper and we were both just dying. We were so bored. And we just said, let's guess this is going to be 25 pages long. What would happen on this page? What would happen on this page? And so the story just built itself. And so it was like there was this perfect script. I couldn't have asked for a better situation to illustrate.
Yeah, it's like by the end of this weekend, we had a story written. Like after the fact, of course, we edited, but it was basically the bones of the story.
When you first started creating these Vampetz, was there, between the prototypes and the first several that actually went up on shelves, is there much of a difference in both the fabric as well as the techniques that you were using back then versus what you've done more recently into now?
It has kind of evolved. Like at first we had to test to see what would work. Like our earliest ones, I think we tried making them out of felt, and that wasn't very cuddly, so we switched to fleece.
Right.
And we even we tried making custom ones, and that was really tedious. And we even introduced yarn for hair at one point, and that got messy. Like this guy, he's one of the early ones. He has a yarn eyebrow.
On the monobrow.
So originally we only had the vampire teeth, but eventually we had a lot of feedback, mostly from kids saying like, oh, those are
Little girls.
so we introduced like these cute like heart smiles. Of course, we have these terrifying eyes, but we've done a lot of things to kind of change things up. And the mustache. Yeah. And we've had like unicorns and elves.
By the way. Clearly, you're handcrafting these individually, sort of one at a time. And I know even as you promote them online, you talk about how no two Vampetz are alike, and that is true. But at the same time, I notice from one creature to the other, there is still a consistency.
I think a lot of it is when we started getting really serious about doing this, we started almost like a production line between the two of us. So each one is individually made, but you will cut 500 of them out at once.
And just having the same body shape generally, even though like they don't all look exactly the same.
Right.
Because we want them all to be like, you can tell they're the same character, like you said.
Going back into the children's book, so it was 2010, you did the Vampetz. It was 2017 when the book came out, correct?
Yes.
And so I have to ask, between the production of the Vampetz and everything you had to go through to get that book properly published and manufacturing, which of those two things would you find to be the most difficult?
I think the children's book was easier.
Especially the way we did it, because we self-published. So we were able to kind of do it on our own timeline, other than like the deadline that we gave ourselves, of course. But there wasn't really any kind of external pressure or anything like that, where whenever we make the toys themselves, it's usually like, oh, we have to have X amount of toys by this date.
I'm not sure if saying this would be considered a book spoiler or not, so I don't know if I have to get your permission on the Vampetz, shall we say, particular taste.
Oh, I think that's fine.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. I know.
No, because we tell people that are buying the.
Okay. You have to make sure. We live in a spoiler landmine. But okay, so they have a thirst for milk, and I have to ask, why milk?
Whenever we got the cow print and we had the Vampetz sitting next to them, I was looking at them. I was like, why would these two go together? Vampetz drink milk. That's the reason.
It made it less scary for kids too.
Yeah.
I thought maybe their species just had a calcium deficiency.
Yeah, I think in my mind, I just think of originally the Vampetz were more of, in my brain, they were like, oh, they're not an actual vampire, they're vampire-like.
Any particular bit of advice or maybe something to watch out for that you could convey to anybody who might watch this looking to create their own first children's book, possibly even my humble self?
Yeah, I guess just making sure you know your target audience, like what age group you want, because we had written it up and we sent it to a couple of relatives who were teachers, and they were like, oh, this is great, but like what age group is this for? Because these few words might be too big for the like a certain age group, but if it's for older kids, then that's fine. So kind of knowing who you're writing for helps. Yeah, I think just getting as many eyes on it as you can before you actually publish it and getting as much feedback as you can is a really big, was
right.
Really
Having the story organized is huge.
And Dina, do you have any sort of separate ideas of what you might, where you might want to take the Vampetz?
This is Addie's baby. I just kind of let her run with it. And I enjoy doing it.
That's good. So this is never going to turn into one of those situations where like, sometimes like a band will break up. So you have like two versions of LA Guns or you know, or there's like Vampetz, and there's like the real Vampetz, or Vampetz, you know.
Both of us will be at the same show, just scowling at each other. No.
The book itself is available. I believe I had mine through Amazon,
Yes.
and then was it Vampetz.com? Has the
Yes,
info on the book as well?
Vampetz.com has a link that will take you to the book.
Yes.
Okay. And for right now, while you're not obviously doing shows and things like that, is there a best place, or is there a place if people are interested in looking at getting some of the plushes as well?
We've had people reach out to us on Instagram.
Yeah.
That seems to be a good place.
Yeah, Instagram or Facebook.
Yes.
So yeah, I thank you both for coming here. I'm going to let you go, and I'm just going to say, stay monstrous. Ronnie James Dio, the holy diver, the man on the silver mountain, the legend of heavy metal with a golden voice. So much can be ascribed to this one man. His awe-inspiring vocals left such a great impact on the genre of heavy metal, as well as the symbol of the horns. Yes. However, Ronnie also had, beyond his intense, roaring, powerful vocals and churning metal songs, a softer side to him. Yes. Not every one of his songs was about swords and sorcery or beasts of any kind. No. Sometimes he took things much lighter. I have long professed that the thing that makes him so great of a heavy metal performer was that he started out with softer, humbler, wider beginnings. And what I'm going to do now is take you a little bit through the history of Ronnie James Dio with 5 of his softer songs. Yes. The first song is called Mr. Misery, from the way early days when Ronnie was in a band called Ronnie Dio and the Prophets. This was about as far a cry from heavy metal or rock and roll as you could get. This genre was much more in line with something like Frankie Valli, maybe a lighter Frank Sinatra, definitely leaning more towards the sort of late 50s, early 60s, sort of teeny bopper, crooner type of music. So yes, all of this was soft fare, but this song in particular has always stood out to me. It's about, the protagonist, presumably Ronnie, sort of alone in a park and just musing over how 2 lovers have the entire world in each other and how he is all alone. Poor old lonely Mr. Misery. Next is the song Wonderworld from Ronnie's, what I like to call, first true rock band, Elf. Wonderworld is the kind of song you put on when you want to go for a nice, leisurely summer drive with the sun beating down on the side of your face, the wind coming in through the window, going through your hair, and it just fills you with this feeling of hope. Next, from Ronnie's debut in Rainbow, the album Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, we have Catch the Rainbow. This is just a long, soft, elegant love song. The lyricism in this is just so great. When he describes 2 lovers, he uses the term a bed of straw against the lace. It just paints a perfect picture right there. And, I might argue that Rainbow was sort of the beginning of Ronnie's true metal nature. I mean, right on this very album, you have Man on the Silver Mountain, and yet Catch the Rainbow. I mean, it is every bit as evocative as Somewhere Over the Rainbow. In the late 60s, Roger Glover of Deep Purple fame decided to put together a very unique project of his own. It is dubbed the Butterfly Ball. And on this album, which also had an accompanying sort of short animation, there is this wonderful song called Love Is All. And Ronnie was the guest singer on this song. Love Is All is kind of giddy with bombast. It is, I dare not call it quite a Disney song, although it, with a different type of animation than what they presented, it certainly might have fit well into their catalog. But, Love Is All is that song that you play somebody when they're just looking to be cheered up, when they're feeling all alone or they feel like they need somebody. You put that on, and, all you need is love and understanding. Ring the bell and let the people know. And all this being sung by an animated grasshopper. I'm sorry, a frog. I'm thinking of a different sort of fable. That is voiced by Ronnie James Dio. And in addition to the original Butterfly Ball rendition of this song, you can also find a live version of it on this album called Deep Purple in Concert with the London Symphony Orchestra. Ronnie actually has 3 appearances on this album. First, there's the song Sitting on a Dream, which rolls right into Love Is All. So the cool thing about this is, it is easy to see that Ronnie started out with this light-hearted sort of soft, giddier side and then transitioned into metal. But this came out in, I believe it was 1999, well into the career of Dio after his time in Black Sabbath and well into his time with his solo band Dio. So this shows to me that he still had some degree of fondness for the softer, perhaps somewhat more innocent days. And it was beautiful just to hear him do this live and absolutely own it without even a hint of darkness in this wonderful light song. And the last track I have for you is something so special to me. This song comes well into Ronnie's career, as a matter of fact, very much being a song from his Dio band. Ironically, this song hails from an album entitled Angry Machines, where this song, the last track on this album, is anything but angry. No. The song is titled This Is Your Life. And if you have never heard this song before, if you need any inspiration at all to do anything, stop what you are doing and turn this song on. Wherever you can find it, listen to it. Close your eyes and just let it soak you in. Now, to be fair, out of all the songs I listed on here, this is probably the least soft. It is actually quite an intense song, but not intense in that sort of driving, angry metal way. It is intense in how utterly sincere and thought-provoking and contemplative that it is. This is your life. This is your time. What if the flame won't last forever? This is your here. This is your now. This song appeared again in a compilation album. It was a tribute album to Ronnie James Dio after he passed away. And the actual album is called This Is Your Life. It is sort of like the melodic battle cry, which brought so many famous, legendary artists together to celebrate this mighty man. As a matter of fact, this album is full of interesting covers, but at the very end of it is the uncovered, the original song, This Is Your Life, because it just punctuates the entire feeling, punctuates the actual career of Ronnie himself so very much. Again, this was a man who started in kind of a doo-wop teeny bopper band and ended his career in one of the heaviest situations possible with Heaven and Hell, a sort of the latter day take of Black Sabbath. This guy lasted through over 4 decades of music, inspiring so many people to become musicians and to become other things. He is a great inspiration even to myself. Welcome to the drawing challenge. Yes. I thought today's mood has been lent towards something of a transformation. Yes. How about today we start out with something nice and cute and soft and fluffy and turn it monstrous. Yes. What better subject could there be than a cute little bunny rabbit? So let us take this lovely little woodland creature and let us monsterize it. Let us begin somewhere obvious. With the nice, cute little ears on the top. Yes. Just how possibly scary do you think a little bunny could become? I suppose your answer may or may not depend upon whether or not you have made one angry before. Perhaps any bunny can be a monstrous bunny if you get it mad enough. Let me see here. I think I'm going to go for something of a furrowed brow to give it that sort of almost Neanderthal, sort of archaic feel, making it look as large and imposing as possible while still trying to maintain some of its bunniness. I'm going to give it a little Y for a nose. Look at the faces on bunny rabbits, and they always seem to have, if you see the cartoon rabbits, they have the little triangle. When you see them in real life, they have something that seems to me to be a little bit more like a letter Y. I do not know why. That just seems to be the way they are. Alright, so I got some eyes going on there. Let's see here. And now, I'm going to facilitate the normal chewing teeth with something a little sharper. Although, that isn't not to say that a bunny's teeth are not already sharp enough. I mean, always look out for a creature with the capability of chewing through wood. Alright. Feeling monstrous yet? Monstrous enough? Going to give it some nice traditional monstrous claws here. I suppose there may have been a few monstrous rabbits in cinema and animation in the past, so it was always behoven to try to come up with something a little different than what may or may not have come before. Sometimes that is easier to achieve in a hurry than others. I always say that we all always borrow and gain inspiration and references from somewhere. It's just a matter of doing what we can to take those inspirations and transform them into something that resembles our own flair and personality. I need to make mine monstrous. As monstrous as I can. How about I go with some crazy spikes in the back. Perhaps a little bit like a certain somebody else that we know. Not a bunny, but something a little more in the dinosaur department. Here we go. Here we go. How monstrous is that? There we go. Have you ever come across a giant rabbit on your own before? I have attended events in the past that involved small petting zoos, and in one case, there were these actual, they called them giant bunny rabbits. I mean, they may have been in the ballpark of about 2 to 3 feet long. They were large, for sure. From a distance, I would forgive anyone for mistaking them for dogs. Of course, I'm going for something a little bit bigger here. And let us illustrate that by putting this thing in front of some buildings. There we go. There's like a little alleyway there. All right. Okay. And whisker, 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 whisker. What to do with this mouth? Maybe I'll just make it, instead of making it straight black, we'll add some weird sort of crazy mouth highlights to it to make it a little more garish. I need to bring out those teeth to make sure they're seen. Maybe we'll darken more of it in, but leave enough so it seems like there is something truly monstrous going on in there. Darken in these ears, a little bit more shade. And we are almost there, almost there. Excuse me, little friend. We are done. So how monstrous is this bunny right here. Is it just a hair too scary for you? Does it make you hop out of your seat? Oh, I hope it doesn't make you nervous and start to chew on wood or carrots. I suppose chewing on carrots would be okay. Anyway, I hope that was a monstrous enough of a drawing challenge for you. If you have any other suggestions on strange or cute or different drawing challenges, you can feel free to comment on that down below. And I hope you have enjoyed this video entire. If you have, please click on the like button. Subscribe if you have not, and do toll that bell so you can be ready, willing, and salivating for the next episode of The Real Monster D. Stay monstrous! Ow!
Next week's Daily Kaiju drawing theme will be Frightful Fashion. Also, I have a brand new Patreon, so you can join the Monster Revolution. Just go to patreon.com and type in The Real Monster D. No space.